Good morning, and we're back with Back Care. And today we're going to be talking about breathing. You might not always think my breathing creates a healthy or unhealthy spine, but it's hugely important. And that's what we really want to discuss today, and hopefully give you some new techniques that you can start to bring into your everyday life. And also there's great power in just simply being aware. So if that's all you get from today, that can still be extremely powerful.
All right, let's get started.
Okay, so when we're talking about breathing, knowing how you breathe is the first step. And as you have different traumas, different things happen in life, develop new habits, your breathing style can really change. And we want to make sure you're breathing as healthy as you can, because when you're breathing healthy, you're actually creating what's called interabdominal pressure, and that braces and supports your spine. And we're going to go into that more in depth here in a little bit and some techniques for testing yours. First, let's just get aware of your breathing. I want you to just sit up nice and tall and just breathe. And you can close your eyes, do whatever's necessary. But I want you to think of your breath and try to notice, or you may have to even go to a mirror and watch. If so, just make a mental note of this. But the first question I want you to ask yourself, are you lifting your shoulders just a little bit as you breathe? Can you notice that? Both Sarah and I, we're both exaggerating this right now, but that's a common way of breathing, but not a very healthy breathing pattern. If you notice that you are letting your shoulders come up and down, you're not creating the interabdominal pressure that you need to support your spine. And you're actually overworking what's called your traps. They're the muscles that come right here, and they can make your neck more tense. So if you have a lot of neck pain, you might think, how am I breathing?
And what a lot of people don't think about is your traps too. A lot of people say, okay, traps is right here, it goes into your neck, but your traps will actually go all the way down the middle of your back. So it's so important that we don't want that to get tight, because not only will it cause that neck pain, but it can trigger down to other muscles as well.
So when you're breathing and you feel your shoulders lift and go back down, you're getting two problems. First off, you're creating tension up here. Second off, you're not creating the interabdominal pressure that supports your spine. Your breath isn't coming down and really working and being what it needs to be doing. So that's number one. Number two, are you breathing up at your chest or into your belly? So placing a hand up and down low, and just breathe and notice. Close your eyes and commit to focusing all of your attention to your body. It's focusing on your body that helps you realize where you may have a few problems. Now notice, is your hand that's on your chest moving in and out with your inhalation and exhalation? Or is your hand that's on your belly? While you're quiet and focused on it, if you're noticing that the air is just moving your hand on your chest, then you're not creating that interabdominal pressure, and you're not getting your breath into the lower lobes of your lungs. When you get your breath into the lower lobes of your lungs, you get more oxygen and more oxygenation happening through your body. So just in that relaxed breath that you just started, try to pull that air all the way into your belly and feel that hand on your belly move out with the inhale, in with the exhale.
For me, it always helps. Maybe if you want to put your hands on your side too, if you're having trouble feeling it here, do you expand at the side? Or does it stay pretty flat? Because that will help you notice if it's breathing in through your chest or a little bit lower.
I love that cue, because that's actually where we go. We want to be really bringing that air and expanding through the sides. So you want to think of your breathing like a cylinder. So let's talk a little bit about the interabdominal pressure. It's just, so pretending like my whole cavity is a Coke can. When you're filling up with air and doing it right, it's full of support, just like a Coke can. I can put all of my weight onto it. I can try and bend it from the outside, and that cylinder stays very, very strong. All can be done with the way we're interacting with the pressures that come in and create that cylinder for our breath. If you're just breathing in your chest and you're not getting that full, deep air, it doesn't have that strength. So you don't have that support that's built in. And think if that's happening, how that can impact your back. So creating interabdominal pressure is extremely important for the health of your spine. Something I hadn't been taught a lot. How about you?
Yeah, the only time I ever think about it is a traditional move in weightlifting is deadlifting. So it really corresponds.
Can you show a deadlift?
Of course. It really corresponds to if you were picking something up and off the ground. So if I had this can here, usually you're using a bar, and you really want to make sure to brace your spine. And how I now set it, especially after we've done all this research, is I'll take that big breath and fill my cylinder first. And then you'll hold it. You have that feel, but I'm still able to talk. I'm not holding my breath here. And then what you're going to do, it's that bending down, picking the item up. Usually it's a bar here off the ground, but I'm going to pick this can up and coming back up, having that fullness the whole time. If I didn't have that, I was just setting up, this is on the ground, I'm just going to go down, grab it, and then come up. I didn't have any of that tightness in here, so my spine is not protected. It might move a funky way. That's when you get those tweaks in your back. Say if you're picking your shoes up off the ground, it's pumpkin season, you're decorating with a pumpkin around the house. But that's why this is so important, because if I went down, I didn't have the full breath, and I'm bending down, I might tweak in a funny way. But by bracing your spine, you have to stay up straight, kind of like what we talked about in our intro the other day. If you're bracing the spine, you have that full air in there, your body isn't able to move in weird directions because you have that support there that you need.
When you're taking a deep breath, several things happen. Your diaphragm, which is the muscle for respiration, comes down, and your pelvic floor comes up, and your abs go in, and your spine is then supported. So when you get a full deep breath and you're breathing correctly, you're creating that inner abdominal cylinder, and then it's coming up. It even relates to having a healthy bladder. It all goes together. It is just amazing. So really working on getting a correct breathing pattern is very important for your spine and for pelvic health, such as being able to hold when you need to use the restroom, all kinds of things. So we really want to work on helping you get that correct breathing style going today. And we have a couple of tools for you. The first, and this is one that I really like, and we'll have balloons out there next to the tennis balls. We're trying to find them a little less expensive, so hopefully we'll have them out there by now. But anyway, this is called the balloon trick. It's going to tell you if you're really creating that inner abdominal pressure, and if you're breathing right, and if your core is also interacting with your breath right. So you're going to take a balloon, and you can't cheat. So with this, you're going to take a balloon, and you're going to blow it up, but you can't clasp down with your mouth or your teeth. You're going to see if you have the internal strength to not let that air come back out. So it's going to look like this. And you might remind what I'm doing.
Of course. So she's going to blow the air into the balloon, and if you notice here, it's going to pull in her core tight. She's not clamping the balloon to close it, and she blows it up more. So from here, you'll feel that core activation. But one thing to note is she's actually not holding her breath. She's still able to exhale in between while not clamping, because when you clamp, you're going to release that pressure, but we want to hold that pressure the entire time. And if you can't get it that blown up, that's okay. Just try it with a couple different breaths here.
So I was not clamping down, and I was breathing normally once it was blown up.
Exactly.
And I was able to maintain that pressure because I had the inner abdominal pressure going.
And that is the biggest thing. If you are having trouble with this and you find yourself wanting to hold your breath, we can always help you find those little tweaks, but we do have more coming up that should help with that. But the one main goal, never ever hold your breath here, because that can raise your blood pressure, and just bad things can happen from there. So just always make sure that you're breathing throughout the entire movements that we do today.
So we're encouraging you to get a balloon and do the balloon test.
Exactly.
Now, when you're doing it, you'll notice that you're really working your abs and you're finding that you breathe deeper and fuller. So this can even be an activity you do a couple times a day. Once you've got it, it's even harder to do it laying down.
Ooh.
And so you can add to the challenge by can you blow the balloon up while laying down without pinching off? And if so, you know your core is strong and your breathing pattern is supporting that inner abdominal pressure. So please get the balloon. Please try it. I promise you will notice a difference. You can always call and we'll help you if you notice you're not able to blow the balloon up and you're not sure what you're doing wrong. It's kind of a handy little trick.
Right.
So do you feel like we've talked enough about the inner abdominal pressure?
I definitely think so. I think the cylinder, I think if y'all picture that in your head every time that you go to breathe and really put your hands around your waist here and feel yourself expand. And are you keeping that cylinder full? That's probably the most important part, and then not holding your breath. So I think we're good to move on to the next part.
Okay, so we're going to go into a thing called decompression breathing. It's an extreme example of what we're asking you to do. I find that I feel like I get a little bit of lengthening through each vertebrae. It's like I'm decompressing, but I will say that it took me a while to learn this technique. So just get a smile going as you practice and learn this with us and think, I'm going to give my body time to take this on. But let me tell you a little bit about decompression breathing. There's a muscle in your back. Do you want to show where it is? And you say it, because I never say it right.
So it's your serratus anterior. It's going to be part of your core, but it actually wraps around your back. So if you can see here, it's going to be right in this area. And so as Jennifer takes a deep breath, do you see this expand? I know it might be hard to see, but you can even feel it on yourself if you just kind of put your hands on the back and then go ahead and exhale. It's going to relax on down. But that's what's going to help hold you up here. And then the relaxation back down.
So some interesting things about that muscle is they found that people who are weak in that muscle are more prone to having diseases like COPD and back problems. And getting that muscle as strong as possible can help you to not have back pain and also have the muscle strong for respiration. And so the decompression breath that we're going to be teaching you here in a minute is geared for strengthening and expanding that muscle and filling your whole cylinder up with air. It is not the type of breathing you want to do all the time. You want to think of this as an exercise you do to develop and strengthening your ability to create inner abdominal pressure, decompress and lengthen through your spine, and develop that habit of really expanding your breath.
And this is a great, when we talk about preventative care, this is a great preventative exercise because as our bodies age, the respiration rate is going to go down a bit. That's why if you've ever been to the doctor and they have that tube and they have you breathe into it, that is just seeing how well you can do, like Jennifer showed you the balloon trick. So let's check it on our own. Let's get stronger by doing the decompression breathing, and we can combat that natural process of aging there.
Right. So do we both want to try it at first, or do you want to have one of us do it and the other one? We should have figured this out.
Right. So if one of us can breathe, and that way we can point out the key movements along the way too, because it can be a different movement. There's one thing I'd like to do before we get started, because when I've been teaching this to other people at home, sometimes a little bit of the translation gets lost. So the first thing I want you to try, and we've done this in our other classes before, I know both Jennifer and I have done, if you put your hand on your stomach, I want you to push it all the way out. So fill your stomach with that air, let it expand, and then I want you to pull your stomach in as tight as you can. So you should see it come in, and then push out, let it relax, really push against, and then pull it in again. When you have it pulled in, test it. Can you still talk here? Because that means you're not holding your breath. A lot of times what we find is when you pull in, you have the tendency to want to hold your breath to keep it there. So that's something great to practice. You'll push out, relax, and then pull in. Can you still talk here? That's going to be the key to the decompression breathing today.
Because you should be able to always pull in and continue to talk. Because if I can get Sarah to turn around, all through here she can expand. All of these muscles are ready to expand and open up to increase the amount of air and inner abdominal pressure. This is all expansive, and so you want to open up all through here so you can allow your abdominal muscles to pull in and support your spine a little bit. So you've got a lot of room for a lot of air. The more air you get in there, you should still be able to tighten your abs. You should be able to expand through here and get that muscle through your spine really grow and get that abdominal pressure where you're like the full Coke can. You've got a lot of strength, and you should be able to feel it in your body. So which role do you want to take? Do you want to be the breather or the demonstrator?
I'll be the breather today.
Okay, so she's going to put her thumb on her lowest rib and her pinky on her hip bone. And these are her guides. What she wants to see as she's breathing is that the distance between her thumb and pinky are getting wider and wider. So her hands are there to tell her she's doing it right. Now, she's going to turn so her toes are a little turned in, and this helps get your inner thigh working a little bit. When your inner thigh is working a little bit more, you're creating the bottom half of that inner abdominal pressure, your pelvic floor, because your inner thigh muscles help get that connection going with your abdominal muscles. It's kind of crazy, but it does work. So from right here, pigeon-toed, thumb on your lowest rib, pinky on your hip, and from right here, this next part's important. You're going to pull your chin back. And now, you're going to inhale and fill yourself up with air. Really try to create that distance between here and here. Now, I want you to, she's really expanded through here. She's going to hold it and exhale, but not lose that expansion. And now inhale more and grow more. And exhale, but don't lose that space created. And one more time. And exhale. So it's like she's blowing that balloon up, and then as she lets the air out, that balloon's still staying full. Blowing that balloon up more, and as she exhales, it's still staying big and taking up that space. I hope we're making this make sense. It's hard to teach, but powerful in your body. So,
and one thing, after you've done it and you reset, you should feel much taller. Do you feel that release on the spine? Because each breath that I took, I got just a little bit taller and filled that space, and I'm still trying to hold on to that and keep the posture upright. And then after, you can relax, go back down, but then still try to hold some of that space that you created. And if you need to reset, like we were saying earlier, it's great to do after a commercial break to reset the body. Try that decompression breath.
Okay, so we're going to get you to try it again with us here in a minute, but this is one thing I wanted to tell. I practice this once a day, and then I notice through the rest of the day, I am breathing different, and that's where the beauty comes. I feel myself expanding here. It is like that extra space I've created early in the day keeps getting filled subconsciously by my breath the rest of the day. So it took a while for me to get this in my body. I'm going to assume it's the same for you. And it took my hearing it in different ways. So let's teach it again and see if we can help you really feel it. This time, everybody stand up. Everybody try it with us. And I guess maybe why don't we both do it and kind of just talk about what we're noticing. So bring your toes together, heels out far. And now try to get just a little activation with your inner thigh.
Almost, I like to think about it, you're pushing your big toes into the sand. So you have that slight activation, waking up the legs here.
When you get that inner thigh going, you've got your pelvic floor moving a little bit more, and that's the bottom half, the half that pulls up for the inner abdominal pressure. Okay, so now I do mine a little different because I was taught different. I'm going to bring my pinky or forefinger to my hip bone and my thumb to my lowest rib, and that's the guide. You want to feel it lengthening up tall. Now pull your chin back and lengthen up so you've got that length. And now I want you to inhale through your nose and fill up as full as you can with air. Now exhale, but don't let that space from the air go away. Inhale more. You should be really working. Exhale, but keep that length. And one more time, inhale. And exhale. Hold, feel that expansion. I feel my abs are pulled in and I'm really full of air through here. But now I'm keeping that together, but allowing myself to breathe, not holding my breath, and then let it all go. If you're doing it right, you feel really expanded with air, like your core is working and you're working hard. It's not an easy thing. This is an exercise for your respiration, just like you went to the gym. It's not a thing for daily change. It creates daily change by getting that hard work in for a few minutes.
Yeah. And then, was there anything else you wanted to touch on? I think that's just something that you keep practicing. If you need to start with just the hand on the stomach, that exhale out, and then you can pull it in tight. See if you can hold that. Just sing, talk, do whatever you want. See if you can hold that. And then from there, the decompression breathing should start to feel a little bit more natural.
And don't forget the balloon challenge. That's your step 1. We hope you have enjoyed today, and we have more to come tomorrow. Have a good day.